Now, are we going to pay rent with coffee? That is the question artists are asking after a campaign by a coffee outlet, that's Artcaffe, rubbed them the wrong way. Now, the campaign, which was calling artists to design the outlet's takeaway coffee cup, said that they were going to let the winning artists display their work of art in their space, and then they get a cup of coffee every day for 365 days. Now, this aroused such divided opinions, with creatives claiming that they were tired of being paid with exposure. And, you know, I, for one, we rarely share our actual lives and our experiences in the industry, but then surely, I understand if you're an individual, Kwach. Like now, if Kwach calls me or Cindy calls me and she's like, Manze, babe, I just want you to help me out. There's this thing I'll do, and then, you know, I want you to be a part of it. I have 100,000 followers, but I don't have money. Please come support me. That's one thing. But if you're a money-making, successful, you know, widely known company, surely, and I'm not talking about, like, it doesn't need to be exorbitant. It can just even be 50K or 60K. Or whatever it is, but then you have to understand that these artists, in as much as, yes, they do need that exposure, and yes, you can take, you know, the advantage of them because of either the naivety, maybe they're so young so they're gullible, or maybe the fact that they're desperate for that platform to be seen, they will take up the opportunity, but they need the money. You more than anyone understands that right now is one of the most difficult times that any human being has ever gone through. This pandemic has, you know, had people commit suicide, have had people just being so depressed and sad, and you want to tell me that you can't even afford, because it's like 100 and something thousand, the coffee, if you calculate it per year, right? You know, every day for the year, it comes to 100K and something. Why can't you just give them that? You have that money. I was paid through exposure, Cindy and Kwach. I was doing the Kisima Awards, and they had all of these sponsors, and they paid me through exposure, brah. Like I kept trying to negotiate money. They even said they'll pay me 15K. I'm so young. I have nothing going on. I'm like, okay, let me just do it. They even refused with that 15K. And this happens to so many creatives and so many artists, and it's time that it just stops. Because we cannot go to a restaurant and tell them, let me post you on Instagram, I'll pay you through exposure. I have 800,000 followers. Stop it. You can pay something, pay people. It's very unfair, man. You know, sorry, Kwach.
I totally get you. I totally get how emotional this is for you. And now it also happens that all the three of us have, in one way or another, participated in the art industry, and we have been made use of through the name of exposure. I was just speaking to Amina during the break, and when I was hearing her sing, and I was telling her, it is these kind of things that let her out of the music industry.
Exactly.
Because at some point you have to get tired.
You have to.
I have a problem with the absolute payment in exposure. We are not saying that the other things you're giving alongside the, you know, the coffee is worthless, totally worthless. We understand that getting a space at cafe for display of your things, that's absolutely good.
Exactly.
But don't let that be the only modes of payment that you're giving the artist. I mean, if this coffee is going to run into hundreds of thousands, why not just say, at least I'm giving you 35 Gs, and then on top of that, you're going to get to display your things at our different outlets, so that, you know, the artist gets a way around. You know, you can work your way around Corona with the 35,000 and say, at least, wacha basi nifanyie hiyo nini, whatever it is I'm doing. And of course, other artists were also on the spot for having said that they went through the same kind of things, getting to be paid by exposure. And I mean, if it happened to you, it doesn't have to happen to anyone else.
No, Kwach, I actually disagree. And I know that one of the people who said that was Jealous. And I 1000% did agree that there are some opportunities that do give you the exposure that you need. All I am saying is that all of them don't have to be, you know, free coffee or a free jug. I don't know, come and then you can shower in our plate. But even when you host for hotels, right, they tell you we can't pay you in full, maybe half. We'll pay you through accommodation, through services. Maybe you can use any of our, you can use a spa. You can, they pay you in kind. All I'm saying is that if you are a money-making company, you're a profitable company. Can you imagine if Safaricom is one of the best paying companies in this country when it comes to events, by the way. Let me just say that outright. It's not, I'm not advertising them. I haven't worked with Safaricom in a while. I'm just saying that when they do, you know, when they do reach you, they want to pay you, and they pay you well. And I wonder, why don't other companies pay? Can you imagine if Safaricom is like, we have over 20 million subscribers, we will send a message to all of them with the name Cindy Ogana breastfeeding. They will all know.
We have such a big platform.
You won't pay the rent.
Yeah, just make us an app for free, or develop us something for free.
An app.
We are going to expose it to these millions of Kenyans.
No. Cindy, what are your thoughts?
I think you pretty much said what I wanted to say. The thing is, this is a very tricky topic for me just because I know the lady who does marketing for Artcaffe, and her heart was honestly in a good place. She was thinking there are people who, they approach Artcaffe all the time and say, hey, can I do this design for you? And they're like, what if we put it out for everybody and they can give us this design? And then in return, we'll give you something in kind. They did not anticipate that it would get this kind of traction and negativity. They were honestly looking for the young guys who would benefit from the exposure, and guys who don't have a portfolio of work or have not invested years and years and years so that they can say, okay, my time is worth this. They were looking for the up and comers. And if you're an up and comer, like we have all been in the industry, sometimes it does help if you get a little bit of exposure, even if you don't get the money back. However, they did see that it is good even for the up and comers to have a little something in their pocket so that they can invest further in their trade. And the whole thing, took the turn that it did, and now they're paying them. My only issue is the or, because they changed and said, so we'll give you this or this. So I'm wondering, will they, who decides the or? Is it the artist? Is it them who says, okay, for this cup,
what are you talking about?
It is worth a year's supply of coffee, or for this cup, it is 30,000 shillings. But it's because I come from an industry, I work for a charity, and we rely very heavily on volunteers. Because our services are free, we find it very difficult to pay volunteers who come and give us value addition. And we do recognize their value, but we do tag on their philanthropy and say what you're doing is actually helping somebody at their time of need, and so are we. So I do understand how you can pull at somebody's heartstrings that way, but you do have a point, Amina. If you're a commercial entity and you can afford to pay for that exposure, even if it is
anything,
bus fare, even if it is what we call a honorarium, not necessarily payment, but to say asante sana, then it is good. And maybe this has set the precedent for all those guys who do take advantage of these young up-and-comers and ask them to do the dirty work and use their good product to make millions.
And Amina, this also comes at the back of a conversation. It's not only in the art industry. Even outside the art industry, people have been asking for interns to be paid. Because yes, they are still getting some experience through your organization, but at the same time, they are making money for you. They're creating something that is going to bring you something. So at least the least you can do for them is at least get them going, keep them going, give them something to keep them going.
That's what I'm saying. And Kwach, what I'm trying to say is that there are some times that you don't have budget, and everyone understands that you don't have budget. But just because it happened to us, so I'm not saying it happened to them. It happened to us. Kwach, you have been taken advantage of. Cindy,
absolutely.
You have numerous times you have been paid through exposure. Just because it happened to us does not make it right. Sexual harassment has been something that is very common within the entertainment industry and the film industry as well. It doesn't make it right. Okay, there are companies that have budget, there are clients that pay money for that, production or for that work, and then you don't get to give, the interns or the crew, just a significant amount of money. I remember the very first time I was paid a proper salary, and I was like, kwani
nalipa
na hata sayo pia shanikula, lakini yani bado amenilipa vizuri kwa sababu pia yeye alikuwa amekulwa zamani ya Kalan. I'm just saying to all companies, if you want to really support the arts industry, I can specifically speak about the arts and entertainment industry because this is one that we are all in. It is very difficult to make your name in this industry. It is even harder for you to make money, for you to even land a job. So if you think that you have a space where you want to support this creative industry, well and good, and we thank you and we welcome that. But you have to also understand that we do need that compensation because we have rent to pay, we have children to feed, we have children to clothe, we have ourselves to transport from point A to point B. For God's sake, have some humanity in you, and please just pay us. Even if you can't pay us our worth, just something small. At least, not a slap in the face. It's extremely disrespectful. And the fact that we don't have anything else, so we're going to take that job is even worse. And those artists are still going to do that job for nothing. And you have money. Man, it's so unfair. It takes years for you to make it through this industry because companies don't want to pay. So thank you to all those companies that support and pay and help and actually give artists money instead of exposure because they deserve it.
Can I add something real quick? And I hope I won't be seen as being feminist because you and I, all of us were in the MC industry For guys who pay male MCs more than
oh
female,
my God.
I have been in that position where I have had to turn a job down out of principle because I was meant to co-MC with someone, but I was getting half of